Have you ever walked into a room and suddenly forgotten why you went in there? Or maybe you're telling a story, and halfway through, a name, or even a word, just slips out of your mind like it was never there. It happens to all of us, especially after 60. And while that can feel a little frustrating, or even scary, the truth is, your brain is still very much alive, active, and capable of staying sharp for years to come. The key? You have to use it, with purpose. See, your brain is a lot like a muscle. If you stop challenging it, it starts to slow down. But when you give it the right kind of activity, not pressure, not stress, just the right stimulation, it starts waking up again. New connections form. Old memories feel stronger. Thoughts flow more clearly. That's what this video is all about, how to stay mentally fit, not by working harder, but by working smarter. And the best part? You don't need expensive courses, high-tech gadgets, or any special training. All you need are a few simple, enjoyable activities that you can start doing right at home. Let's begin with one of the most powerful tools you already have, your hands. Yes, your hands. More specifically, your fingers. Research has shown that using your fingers in detailed ways, whether through crafts, drawing, writing, or puzzles, activates areas of the brain linked to memory, problem solving, and emotional control. That's why something as simple as knitting, playing an instrument, or even doing jigsaw puzzles can do wonders for your mental clarity. Take Mr. Howard, 82, who picked up painting after retirement. He said he was never artistic before, but once he started using a brush every morning, something shifted. "I don't just feel more focused," he said. "I feel calmer, more balanced, like my brain has space to breathe again." That's exactly the kind of mental boost we're talking about. You don't need to be a professional. You just need to do. The act of using your hands and focusing your attention gives your brain a beautiful combination of stimulation and relaxation. Another simple activity that boosts brain health? Learning something new. Now, I know that might sound intimidating at first. You might think, at my age, why start now? But let me tell you, there is no age limit on curiosity. In fact, the more curious you stay, the younger your brain stays. And it doesn't have to be complicated. Maybe it's learning a few phrases in a new language, watching a documentary about a part of the world you've never been to, or picking up a new recipe from a culture you've never explored. The point isn't mastery. The point is stretching. Think of your brain like a balloon. When it gets filled with something new, it expands. And once it expands, it doesn't go back to its original shape. That's what happened to Elaine, a 74-year-old grandmother who decided to learn how to use her smartphone better, not because she wanted to be tech-savvy, but because she wanted to FaceTime her grandkids. She told me, "I used to think this stuff was only for young people. But now I feel like I can keep up, and my memory has actually gotten better." That's no coincidence. Learning something new requires your brain to make new connections, and the more connections you make, the more resilient your brain becomes. And speaking of connection, there's one more brain-boosting activity that often gets overlooked, but it's one of the most important of all. Conversation. That's right. Just talking, real, meaningful conversation, is one of the healthiest things you can do for your mind. It keeps your memory sharp, your vocabulary active, and your emotions balanced. You don't need a big audience. You don't even need to talk for hours. A 5-minute heartfelt chat with someone who listens, whether it's a neighbor, a friend, or even a stranger at the coffee shop, can light up your brain in ways that few other things can. Why? Because conversation is dynamic. You're thinking, responding, recalling, expressing. You're processing emotion and reading tone. You're building stories, exchanging thoughts, connecting experiences. It's a workout, a fun one, for your mind. So if you've been feeling a little foggy, or if your thoughts haven't been as clear lately, try this: call someone. Invite someone over. Share a story. Ask a question. Let your brain stretch in conversation, and you'll be amazed at how much lighter and brighter your mind can feel. All of these things, using your hands, learning something new, and having meaningful conversations are small, doable, joyful habits that help keep your brain active and alert. They don't require hours, just intention. Because the truth is, staying mentally sharp after 60 isn't about fighting age. It's about feeding your brain with the right kind of attention, challenge, and care. And once you start doing that, your mind responds. Every time. Now, let's keep going. There are still a couple more brain-boosting activities you can start today, and one of them might be something you already enjoy without even realizing how powerful it is. Now that we've talked about how using your hands, learning new things, and having meaningful conversations can boost your brain, let's take a moment to talk about something a little more personal, something you might already love doing without even realizing how powerful it is. Listening to music. Yes, music. There's a reason why a song from decades ago can transport you back in time, to a high school dance, a wedding day, or even a quiet afternoon when life felt simple and full. Music doesn't just live in your ears. It lives in your memory. And here's what's truly magical. Listening to music, especially the songs you love, stimulates multiple parts of your brain all at once: memory, language, emotion, and even movement. That's why tapping your foot, humming a tune, or dancing in the kitchen feels so natural. It's your brain lighting up. Even better, research has shown that music can improve mood, sharpen focus, reduce anxiety, and even help delay cognitive decline, especially when it's combined with movement or memory work. So the next time you're feeling foggy or low energy, try this. Put on a song from your youth. Close your eyes. Let your body sway. Sing the words if you remember them. Don't worry about how it sounds, just let it move you. That's brain fitness. That's therapy with a beat. And if you really want to boost your mental sharpness, try learning the lyrics to a new song. Memorizing lyrics is a fun way to stretch your recall, your rhythm, and even your pronunciation. Some people even write their own short verses to keep the brain playful and creative. A woman named Teresa, 68, told me she creates short memory songs to remember her grocery list. It sounds silly, she said, but it sticks better than writing it down. That's exactly the point. It doesn't have to be serious. It just has to be stimulating. And that leads us right into another powerful brain-boosting activity that's often overlooked: movement. Now, before you think this means hitting the gym or doing intense workouts, let me stop you there. I'm talking about gentle, mindful movement, like walking, stretching, light dancing, or Tai Chi. You might be thinking, what does moving my body have to do with my brain? The answer? Everything. When you move your body, especially in ways that require coordination or rhythm, your brain is forced to engage. You're planning, balancing, adjusting, reacting, all while staying aware of your surroundings. This kind of movement strengthens the connection between your mind and your muscles, something called neuromuscular coordination. Even better, physical movement boosts circulation, which brings oxygen-rich blood to the brain. That supports alertness, memory, and mental clarity. And here's the beautiful part: you don't need to do it for hours. Even 10 minutes of movement can lift the fog, clear your head, and give you a renewed sense of energy. One gentleman I know, Mr. Alvarez, 73, does a thinking walk every morning. No headphones. No distractions. Just a slow stroll through his garden while he talks out loud to himself, sometimes about old memories, sometimes about what he plans to cook that day. He told me, "It's how I wake my brain up. My legs move my body. My voice moves my mind." That's it right there. Movement isn't just exercise, it's communication. It's flow. It's telling your brain, we're still active. We're still alive. You could try dancing to your favorite music, doing a little balance practice in the hallway, or even marching gently in place while watching TV. It doesn't need to look impressive. It just needs to feel engaging. And the last thing I want to touch on in this part, and this one might surprise you, is reading aloud. Reading silently is good, of course. But reading aloud? That activates a different part of your brain entirely. When you read out loud, you're processing words visually, forming them with your mouth, and hearing them through your ears, all at the same time. That creates a full brain experience. It improves memory, articulation, vocabulary, and emotional awareness. Try it with a poem, a short article, a favorite passage from a book, or even a note you've written to yourself. Don't rush. Don't worry about sounding perfect. Just feel the rhythm of the words and let your voice bring them to life. Some people even read out loud to their pets, their plants, or simply to the mirror. It may feel funny at first, but after a while, you'll notice something shifting, not just in your clarity, but in your confidence. And that's what all of this is really about, isn't it? Not just boosting brain power for the sake of being sharp, but for the sake of being yourself, alert, connected, expressive, curious. Because staying mentally fit after 60 isn't about avoiding decline, it's about embracing growth. Quiet, steady, joyful growth. So now, as we wrap up this section, I want to invite you to think about one small activity you can add to your day. Not all 5. Just one. Whether it's listening to a song you love, going for a 5-minute walk, reading a recipe out loud, or calling someone for a good chat, your brain will thank you. And the best part? Every one of these things can feel like a pleasure, not a chore. Let's keep going. There's still one more essential piece to this mental fitness puzzle, and it just might be the most meaningful one of all. We've talked about your hands, your voice, your feet, your curiosity, even your love of music. But there's still one more piece of this mental fitness puzzle, and honestly, it might be the most powerful of them all. Gratitude. Yes, that might sound soft or even cliché at first. But let me tell you, practicing gratitude isn't just about being polite or positive. It's a mental habit. A powerful one. You see, every time you pause and reflect on something you're grateful for, whether it's your morning coffee, a conversation with a loved one, or even just waking up to birdsong, your brain shifts. It moves away from stress, worry, and fear. It focuses instead on presence, awareness, and appreciation. And when that shift happens regularly, something magical begins to take place in your mind. Studies have shown that people who actively practice gratitude experience sharper memory, more emotional stability, less depression, and even better sleep. Why? Because the brain stops scanning for what's missing and starts strengthening what's meaningful. A man named Raymond, 80 years old, told me he keeps a one-line gratitude journal. Every night before bed, he writes down one sentence that starts with, "Today I'm thankful for," some days it's big, "Today I'm thankful my son called." Other days it's small, "Today I'm thankful the soup wasn't too salty." But after a year of doing it, he says he feels calmer, clearer, more in tune with himself. That's mental fitness. Quiet, steady, real. And here's the most beautiful thing about it. You don't need anything fancy. No tools. No classes. Just a small notebook or even a whisper to yourself before bed. Gratitude is free, and yet its impact is priceless. Now, let's take a moment to look back at where we've been. You've learned that using your hands, through art, crafts, puzzles, wakes up the parts of your brain responsible for creativity and coordination. You've discovered how learning new things keeps your neurons firing and your confidence alive. You've seen how simple, real conversations can light up your mind like fireworks. You've remembered that music isn't just background noise, it's memory, rhythm, and emotion in motion. You've moved your body in ways that remind your brain it's still in charge. You've spoken words aloud, bringing language back into your breath and attention. And now, you're learning to notice and appreciate the life you already have, one moment at a time. That's not just brain training. That's soul nourishment. And if you're sitting there thinking, "I don't know where to start," then let me make it simple for you. Start small. Start kind. Start now. Pick just one of these activities. Maybe it's turning on a song after breakfast. Maybe it's writing a single line in a notebook before bed. Maybe it's calling a friend. Maybe it's walking outside and naming 5 things you're grateful for. You don't have to do it all. But every time you do one of these things, every time you make the choice to feed your brain instead of letting it drift, you're choosing life. Real life. Full of meaning, energy, and joy. You're choosing to be present, alert, and engaged, even in a world that often tells people over 60 to slow down, sit back, or fade into the background. Not you. Not here. Not today. Because staying mentally fit isn't about chasing youth. It's about owning wisdom. It's about creating clarity in your days, purpose in your moments, and joy in your routines. So, if this video gave you a spark, even a small one, I want to hear from you. Share in the comments, what's one thing you do to keep your brain sharp? What's one thing you'd like to try? Your story might be the exact thing someone else needs to hear today. And if you haven't already, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on more inspiring, practical content made just for you. Because here at Bright After 60, we believe that your best days aren't behind you, they're just waiting for you to take that next step forward, one clear thought, one grateful breath, and one meaningful action at a time. Thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up for yourself. Now go out there and give your brain something beautiful to think about today. You deserve it. Always.